Okay guys, welcome back to a brand new video. Now today we are going to be going through the brand new creatures that are coming to Ark Survival Evolved this year. It is crazy to think we are getting 5 new creatures and it's all completely free. I don't think this has happened like ever since the game was like first released in early access, and considering it's meant to be the last year of Ark 1, it's really nice to see that Wildcard are still putting a lot of effort into releasing us free content. Now obviously yes, the next big thing is meant to be Ark 2, but it's really nice that obviously we have the new map Fjord, which is coming in June 2022, a lot of these creatures as well. But let's just get in with the video. Now if you are excited for this, I tried to put together all of the information as well so you can learn a lot about these creatures. Smash that like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and let's just get in with this. So as you can see, 5 new creatures, and let's start with the first one. Now I thought I would start with this first just because, you know, this creature in the game has, like, we didn't know whether it was going to be official in the end. If you didn't know, the new map, the Viking map coming in June, it does already have a modded creature called the Fenrir involved, which is like a giant wolf bigger than a dire wolf. And just like how Crystal Isles works when we got the Crystal Wyverns in the game, this has been announced that it is officially coming to Ark Survival Evolved as well. Also on console. That's the main thing I know a lot of console players are thinking. Now I did do a gameplay video on the modded version of this, I think it was about 10 days ago now, so if you want to go check that out, I recommend you do that. It probably won't change too much, and the information I'm going to read to you guys here, that may change just because, you know, when this actually officially gets added in, Wildcard are going to want to make sure that, you know, it's not too overpowered and stuff, but I do feel like it is already quite balanced, but I'll read you guys all of the stuff about that we know. So general, it will behave similar to the direwolf with a freeze ability of the mana. It will explode with ice if it has less than 50% health or about to fall asleep. The ice armor works identical to the Stego hard plate mode. Best strategy is to snipe it from afar with an explosive, and it will make your insulation drop to 0. Weaponry, grenades, rockets, anything that explodes is what's really effective against it. Dangers drops insulation to 0 while the temperature in this biome is always minus 75, and it will trap you with its ice. The weakness, it can be killed in 2 shots by rockets, or obviously the Tropio. And the taming, superior kibble, it will take 14 minutes, and the taming method is 11 knockout darts to make it explode, which would, after that, will take 21 other darts, so it's 32 in total. Now that is the modded version, which as I said, probably won't change too much because it's in a very good state already in the game, and Wildcard won't have to do too much about it. But this is the first creature coming to Ark Survival Evolved with the new map. Now, the second creature is the Fjord Hawk. Now, this was announced as this was one of Wildcard's creations, which obviously is coming to the map. This one is actually quite an interesting one. A lot of people think, you know, small. I get like shoulder mounts are never as fun, but what you'll be able to actually see from its dossier on the screen there is on the right side is where the Fjord Hawk is flying down with a little bag, and then there's a survivor reaching out for it, and that is because it's got an ability which it brings you back some of your loot. I will read you to that now. So in the wild, most of these creatures I've encountered here have endured thanks to their great size, strength, or like sort of being big and scary, but the Fjord Hawk gets on its wits by scavenging. The bird also seems to have an almost like an ability to avoid danger. The Fjord Hawks follow predators and survivors from a high, watching for their moment to swoop in and snatch up an easy meal. Now, the tamed version, the domesticated, tamed Fjord Hawks are surprisingly playful, and their favorite game is fetch. Indulge your bird with this play and a bit of patience, and you'll reap the rewards. Just point out a target and your Fjord Hawk will fly off to retrieve it for you. A well-trained Fjord Hawk can locate injured prey and communicate its find to you. These clever birds will bond with humans as wholeheartedly as any canine or primate in a way uniquely suited to this time and place. If you should meet with some grave misfortune, your Fjord Hawk will immediately fly off with as many of your belongings as it can carry, and as soon as you're respawned by the Ark, your friend will track you down and return your equipment to you, which I think is a very useful thing which we haven't seen properly in the game. So the third creature coming to the game is, for me, I'm going to do a little rating at the end of the video of how I think these creatures go. This one does excite me, the Desmodus Draculae. This is the new giant vampire bat that did win the community vote, which is why this is in the game. It's going to be crazy, so let's read that to you guys now. So the wild, even with all the other monstrosities around here, this fugitive from a creature double feature deserves a top billing. I mean, Dracula's right there in its species name, and Desmodus has a shriek that will scare just about anything out of its way. It is also shrewd enough to limit itself to victims that it can carry off into the night, although I'm not superstitious enough to advise stocking up on garlic and steaks before you decide to track down the Desmodus for yourself. I'd still advise you hunt these horrors out in the light and away from their caves. They seem uniquely adept at flying and hiding in those dark, narrow spaces. Now, domesticated, taming one of these beasties lets you add its eerie abilities to your arsenal. Using their unsettling scream to scatter your enemies, command the Desmodus to snatch up small prey for you. Let its uncanny power to vanish into darkness become your personal stealth mode. The Desmodus has blood thinning in its saliva, which drains prey of more blood than this vampire could ever digest. If you can stomach the excess blood and drained meat from your vampire pet leaves behind, you might be open-minded enough to appreciate another of its unholy gifts, which helps enthrall most stubborn beasts. This, for me, sounds crazy. Like, this is going to be able to really weaken bigger dinos as well as smaller dinos. The smaller dinos are getting flown off into the sky. As you can see from the dossier there, it looks like it's picked itself up a parasaur to go and eat. And if this thing's picking up a parasaur, parasaurs are not small, and you got to think, it's got to be big to be able to do that, and it is going to be able to use its screeching ability to scare away, as you'll be able to see on the dossier, but things like groups of raptors, and yeah, it is going to be a big one for the game, I'm sure of that. Now, the next one is the, I think this is the fourth, yeah, this is the fourth one, which is the last one coming to Fjord, which is coming later, obviously in June. The other dino announced is coming separately from the map. This, obviously, in the dossier, you will see, has a mounted minigun on its back with its saddle, and it looks like it's got armored plates on it. It sounds more useful than you'd expect. So in the wild, the Sarkis is a beast that is full of surprises. These ungainly creatures might seem sluggish while foraging for a meal, but they can move unexpectedly fast when provoked. Like certain other creatures, the Sarkis will aggressively defend its territory against interlopers. With some distance between you, it may be possible to dodge a charging Sarkis. They don't exactly turn on a dime. Just don't expect a river or lake to protect you from one. As long as its feet can reach the bottom, the Sarkis will plow its way right through deep water. These scavengers will tear into just about anything if hungry, but they've got a bit of a sweet tooth. I've seen many agitated Sarkis pacified by some honey. Domesticated, once tamed, the Sarkis is a reliably fast beast of burden. As long as you don't need to take any corners at full speed, its density in water also makes the Sarkis an ideal for searching ocean floors for pearls, since it sinks so readily to the bottom. The preferred saddle design includes a mounted minigun to target foes, while the driver stays safe inside their airtight armored enclosure. Though a fully armored Sarkis can't absorb as much damage as some of the Ark's larger creatures, it still excels them at harassing them. Again, when you read that through, for me, that really does go up a lot in my ratings. I haven't read this one for a while, so it does again make me think this is actually going to be quite a useful mount. So yeah, that's going to be big. And the final one, which I can't read to you guys any information about apart from the photo. This photo is from obviously a page which is great, that I get to use like for thumbnails and stuff. It's absolutely brilliant. And this is the Carcharodontosaurus. Carcharodontosaurus. That's how I pronounce it. I know it's wrong, but or the Cark, just to make things simpler. This is coming to the game officially later into 2022. Now, I don't know how it's going to work, whether they're just going to release this on its own, just randomly onto all maps, which is what I think they're going to do, but it isn't going to become part of the new map. I think it would be cool, but to be honest, we do already have 4 coming, and it's nice enough that Wildcard have actually given this to us. This is not the official photo at all that is going to be coming to the game. It's just kind of a similar version of what the Cark was meant to look like when it was back in the day, let's just say. And if it was anything slightly that looked like this, which it's meant to, because it's meant to be in the in between the size of a Giga and a Rex, I really think this could be massive and hugely scary for the game. This finished second in the last 2 creature votes for Ark Survival Evolved, so I think that was the reasoning for Wildcard giving it to us in the end, because it really did deserve the love, and I feel like a new giant carnivore in Ark is something awesome to end off Ark 1. Now, going through all of them, it is very tough to pick my favorite one. Now, I can't obviously pick for me, I've been more excited for the Cark because it's been one of the ones I've wanted in the game for a while. So that kind of, for me, excels at number 1 just because of the potential it could have. But talking on abilities, if I was to go 1 to 4 out of the new ones coming from the new map, for me, number 1 has to be the Desmodus. I know there's other abilities in the game that, you know, that could be more overpowered with some of the other ones, but I'm someone that's like sadly just follows excitement of big teeth, scary, big, you know, that's just, I suppose that's just what I understand. A lot of people are the same as me with that. So the Desmodus is at my number 1 spot for the new creatures. Then it is now a very tough one for me between the Fenrir and the Sarkis. I think for me, just because we've already got a direwolf in the game, I think the Sarkis is at my number 2 spot because it's kind of new and something we haven't seen before. I think the Fenrir is new and there's so many abilities that we haven't seen before. It's very close between them two, but I think the Sarkis takes my 2nd spot. Number 3, as I mentioned, it's going to be the Fenrir. Really excited to see what this guy is going to bring to the game, especially when we know its official features. It could even be pushed to my number 2 spot when it's in the official game, when we learn more about it. But again, we should be finding out more in the community crunch very soon, as that's what Wildcard have mentioned recently. And at my number 4 spot, no hate to Fjord Hawk, but again, it follows that stage of it's a shoulder mount, and I know the Cynomacrops recently was a great addition, being able to use as a personal glider, and this is going to be your personal like sort of buddy that's going to bring you back your stuff, which I'm sure will be very useful at points. But just because of the great excitement of the other dinos coming to the game, it does take number 4, but it doesn't mean I'm not excited to see this. So that is the end of the video, guys. I hope you did enjoy. I tried to put this together as well as possible so you can understand some of the abilities of them and the top 5 new creatures that come into Ark in 2022. Thank you very much for watching. Leave a like. Let me see your comments of what you think. Do your number 1 to 5 in the comments as well of what you're most excited for, and maybe some abilities that you think the Cark could have when it's announced later on. Thank you for watching. Leave a like, subscribe. I'll see you guys then.